Hello, my abnormal family. Got another good drop for you tonight. Excuse me. My allergies have been acting up. It's getting warmer, and don't know if it wants to stay cold or hot. Well, guys, I think you're going to really enjoy this one. This one here is a little bit of a different one, but I think you will enjoy it, and I look forward to your comments in it. And thank you for all the support for Hunter as usual. I went to the post office today, and again, just packed full of stuff. So thank you all so very much for that. Let's get into today's story, shall we? Me and two of my friends decided to go camping at the forest area near our town after spending so much time indoors due to you know what. We met at my house as it was the closest to the road leading to the forest, and loaded our camping equipment into the car of one of my friends. Since we wanted to go camp at night, the sun was already setting, though it was later than planned due to one of my friends having to work an extra hour. There wasn't much sunlight left when we arrived, so we got to work quickly setting everything up. While my friends were unloading the car and setting up tents, I was out unloading the car and setting up tents. Or, sorry guys, I was out collecting firewood. I was at it for about a half an hour, and I had gone deeper into the woods when suddenly I heard some heavy footsteps, and like what sounded like a wolf growl behind me. This confused me, since wolves haven't been native to this forest for centuries, having been wiped out by farmers to protect their livestock. So I put down the wood I had collected and I turned around slowly. What I saw next I will never forget. Standing only a few meters away from me on its hind legs was a large creature, covered in dark gray fur, with a wolf-like face and piercing yellow eyes. It had to have been at least 2.4 meters, or 7.87 feet, tall, since I had to look up to it much more than I had to with the tallest person I've ever met, who stood about 7.2 feet. But what somehow shocked me even more than the creature was the fact that it was carrying a young girl in its long arms. I couldn't tell whether she was still breathing or not, but I also couldn't make out any blood or wounds. While I stared at the girl, the creature looked another few steps toward me. Then it bent down until its snout was almost a few centimeters from my face. I could feel the air coming out of its nose as it sniffed at my smell. After what felt like an eternity, it suddenly backed off again. It took a few steps back, crouched down, and placed the girl on the ground in front of me. Then it got down on all fours and gave me the last growl, as if it wanted to say that I should get out of the forest before running back the way it came, and at such high speeds that I was glad it was not chasing me, because it would have caught me, no doubt. I looked at it running away for a moment before I heard the girl asking quietly whether the creature was gone. I replied with a yes, and I asked her whether she was all right while helping her up. She also replied with a yes, but I noticed a few bruises on her face. I asked her where those came from, and she told me that those were not from the creature, but from her abusive stepfather. She had ran away from home the day before to go to her uncle who lives in our town. She stayed off the road to avoid her parents finding her by car, which is why she went through the forest. Wow. There's not long before my own encounter, she heard a growl behind her and saw the creature moving toward her on all fours. She told me that she had heard that whenever she sees something like that or hears that she was to play dead when approached by a predator, and so she did. She then felt being picked up and carried away by the creature, but since she didn't want to risk doing anything to upset the creature, she didn't move. I offered to drive her to her uncle. She accepted, and I brought her to my friends. I told them she was on her way to her uncle and that I found her in the woods, but knowing they would not believe me anyways, I didn't say anything about the creature. We drove her to her uncle, who took her in and thanked us for bringing her to him. After all was said and done, we decided to go camping another time. I don't know if the creature was evil, if it saved her, or if I just happened to be there. But what I do know is the way this thing ran and the way it moved. If it would have caught me, I wouldn't have stood a chance of getting out of the woods. and that's for sure. You know, the color of this one reminds me of one I seen when I was younger riding in the back of my dad's truck. He was driving with my mom up front. It was a summer day, and of course we were just cruising the back roads, and we was headed fishing. And I was looking around, from left to right out through the fields and the trees and looking down the creeks and everything. And the next thing I know, I see this upright creature running that looks like a werewolf, except for the color of it. The best I could describe then, and still would today, was the color of my dad's ashes on the end of his cigarette. It was mostly white with the black inside of it, the grayish through it or whatever you would call it. And that's pretty much how it was colored. It ran up the hill, then down over the side. I told my mom and dad about it when we got to the place we was going to fish because this wasn't too far from where we seen it. An hour later, we started hearing noises, whistles, and then something jumped in the water very big, and that's when we left. So I think that color may not be everywhere, but I know that color does exist because I've seen it myself. What do you guys think happened with that little girl? Do you think it was going to eat her? Do you think it was trying to help her? Or what do you think it was doing? Let me know in the comments. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. And don't forget, keep your head on a swivel, or you just might be the next one being carried through the woods, and the outcome may not be as good.